News when you want it with Bloomberg News Now. I'm Denise Pellegrini. Iran is now promising retaliation against Israel, says it's far from over. In response to that series of Israeli attacks on the heart of Iran's nuclear program and its armed forces, Iran launching deadly retaliatory missile strikes on Israel, killing several people and wounding dozens. And Bloomberg's Ethan Bronner says Israel is responding.
That has caused the defense minister of Israel to say that this was the crossing of a red line to target civilians.
Bloomberg's Ethan Bronner in Tel Aviv. Israel's Air Force is targeting Tehran now, according to the Israel Defense Forces. And also Israel claiming it has done big damage to Iran's nuclear roadmap in its attacks. Israeli Brigadier General Afi Defrin.
Israel has the capability to defend itself.
Israeli Brigadier Defrin there. Republican Congressman Marlon Stutzman of Indiana speaking out in support of Israel.
What Israel is doing is defending themselves and making sure that Iran doesn't develop a nuclear program. Iran doesn't need a nuclear program of any sorts, whether it's for utility purposes or not.
Meantime, Democratic Representative Adam Smith, the ranking member of the House Armed Services Committee, advising caution.
We have a lot of U.S. citizens in Israel, so we're protecting U.S. citizens as well as Israel in that. But we have to be really careful not to get dragged into a war with Iran. We have a lot of U.S. military personnel in Iraq, in Syria, in the UAE, in Qatar and Bahrain that would be at risk if we were in a direct conflict with Iran.
And as U.S. politicians respond, Iran says further nuclear talks with the U.S. are now meaningless after Israel strikes. That's according to the Tehran Times, citing a spokesperson for the foreign ministry. But the spokesperson did stop short of saying the talks were canceled. President Trump warning Iran on social media to make a deal before it's too late. Those talks were scheduled to resume in Oman tomorrow. In the U.S., protests yesterday in Washington, D.C. ahead of today's military parade. Republican governors in Virginia, Texas, Nebraska, and Missouri are mobilizing National Guard troops as cities across the nation prepare for major protests against President Trump as officials urge calm. Colonel Steve Warren is lead spokesperson for the U.S. Army.
We are here to celebrate America. We are here to celebrate the 250th birthday of the United States Army, and we are here to have a good time.
Warren is lead spokesperson for the U.S. Army. In Los Angeles, protests with police responding with tear gas, rubber bullets, and flashbang grenades while officials enforce curfews. Crude oil futures skyrocketing on concern about the possibility the fight between Israel and Iran could widen. It jumped more than 7% yesterday for NYMEX crude. And Bloomberg's Will Kennedy says traders are watching closely to see what Iran does next.
Key is the Strait of Hormuz, this narrow waterway that guards the entrance to the Persian Gulf, over which Iran has significant control, and about a quarter of the world's oil travels through every single day. Now, the great fear of oil markets has been that Iran, in a moment of crisis, would try and close that strait to shipping, and that could see, according to JP Morgan, oil go as high as $120 a barrel.
Bloomberg's Will Kennedy there. NYMEX crude closing at almost $73 a barrel yesterday. Delta Airlines and United suspending flights to Tel Aviv following Israel's bombing of Iran and the closure of Israel's airspace. More from Bloomberg's Charlie Pellett.
Delta says it has halted flights through August 31st from New York's JFK into Tel Aviv and will continue monitoring the evolving security environment in the area. The Atlanta-based carrier issued a travel waiver offering rebooking options for those holding reservations to Tel Aviv through August 31st. United, meanwhile, isn't saying when flights between its hub at Newark Liberty and Tel Aviv might resume. In New York, Charlie Pellett, Bloomberg Radio.
Thank you, Charlie. U.S. stocks closed sharply lower yesterday. The Fed in focus this coming week, expected to keep interest rates unchanged when it wraps up its FOMC meeting Wednesday. U.S. financial markets closed Thursday for the Juneteenth holiday. In trade developments, UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer telling us at Bloomberg that the UK is in the final stages of implementing a U.S.-UK trade deal.
I'm hoping that we will complete it pretty soon. It's important that we do, but we're making good progress. There's nothing unexpected in the implementation, and so we haven't got any hiccups or obstacles.
And Starmer speaking with Bloomberg there ahead of the Wednesday deadline for that deal. On Ukraine and Russia, Ukraine's President Vladimir Zelensky says he wants the U.S. to take strong steps to pressure Russia toward a ceasefire, and he hopes to meet President Trump at the G7 meeting in Canada. That gathering kicks off tomorrow night. Ukraine also says it wants a foreign security contingent on site after any ceasefire with Moscow. In corporate news, Nippon Steel has won a conditional U.S. approval for its $14.1 billion purchase of U.S. Steel. That will create one of the world's largest steel companies. Sources say HSBC is speeding up effort to find a new chairman. That's after Mark Tucker's surprise announcement he'll leave the bank in September. And that's news when you want it. With Bloomberg News Now, I'm Denise Pellegrini. This is Bloomberg.